live on video. How many overhyped verbs did they use?
Netflix earnings smash expectations. Stock explodes.
Except for the fact that they missed on their revenue.
Yeah.
So it's not exactly a smash.
Neither right nor restrained.
Did they exceed the profits expectations?
Yeah, they killed earnings. Earnings per share expectations were 2 cents a share. They had 10.
And so they killed earnings without meeting revenue, which is even more impressive.
It is.
So
for sure.
That's why it's so smashing and blowing up and stuff.
Probably. Hence all the blowing up in BlackBerry. Okay.
That must be so exciting to watch for the people who are watching the video afterwards. So I'm going to make it my task right now to entertain those people, because everyone's otherwise occupied. And I am going to entertain you by telling you a story.
Tell me a story, Patrick.
Make sure it's a 3-minute story.
It's a what?
3-minute or less story.
Jenny, you have to go old producer. It was like, a good story has to be about 5 to 10 minutes.
Well, there you go.
Conflict. An arc has to have 3 acts.
Yeah, you need to have 3 acts. So, okay. Let's try to keep it to even less than 3 minutes. There was a chicken. That chicken was living on one side of the road, and he was very happy on that one side of the road. He had a little chicken house. He had a little chicken wife. He had little chicken children. And then at some point, for no apparent reason, he got up, left, and crossed the road. And everyone on the other side of the road was looking at this, and after he got smashed by an oncoming car, was wondering, why did the chicken cross the road? And no one could find an answer.
And the license plate of that car? Netflix earnings.
Yeah, that works too. I was going to go a much darker place, but I like yours better.
Update, chicken smashed. Thank you, Shane. Yes. Your patron dollars at work.
Don't say that. I'll take them away.
Yeah, that was a good story. That's all I'm saying. Pete Master wants to know if that's a political analogy.
It is whatever you want it to be.
Make it your own. All right, we're gonna get this this show and the road.
Oh wait, now see, now it takes on a whole new meaning.
Maybe it was the show that hit the chicken. Oh my gosh! All right, here we go.
The Daily Tech News Show.
Xiaomi.
The Daily.
I was bored.
Tom. The Daily. To support Tom, go to dailytechnewsshow.com/support. Okay, now you can press the button, Tom.
This is the Daily Tech News for Tuesday, January 19th, 2016. I'm Tom Merritt. Joining me today, as he does most Tuesdays, Patrick Beja, DTNS contributor and independent podcaster. How are you, Patrick Beja, sir?
I am very happy to find out that, unlike what I was thinking when you were playing that intro, I am in fact not having a stroke. I always feel very strange when that intro is playing, which I think is the goal, and it's very well achieved. So
I would call it the fun of that intro.
Yeah, it is.
Is it keeps you on your toes. You don't know if your podcast app's crashing or someone has broken into the studio. We're going to talk about the hottest games coming in 2016. It's still January. We still get to do look ahead for the year pieces. And Patrick did a great job of looking ahead on the recent Pixels episode. So we're going to use some of that knowledge. And Patrick's going to explain to me why people are excited about games.
Some of them might even get you excited as well.
I know a couple of them will for sure, but maybe ones I don't expect. So we're going to talk about that in a bit. Let's start off with the headlines. Microsoft announced Tuesday it has acquired Minecraft EDU, a version of Minecraft used in schools. Minecraft Edu is used in more than 7,000 classrooms in more than 40 countries. Microsoft plans to charge $5 per student annually with access to the program from any computer. Previously, you had to pay for a server license and then run it yourself. Previously, schools also had to pay a one-time fee based on maximum users. So you can argue whether this is cheaper or not, but it certainly will be more convenient for the students. Microsoft will not acquire the creator of Minecraft EDU, Teacher Gaming, however. They will continue on as an independent startup and go on to other projects.
When they acquired Minecraft, it was sort of a puzzling move, but it really seems that that game, if it's even just a game by now, it keeps on giving. It's pretty amazing what that thing has turned into.
Yeah, and a lot of people criticize Microsoft's acquisition of Minecraft or Mojang because it doesn't really synergize, as they say, with the rest of Microsoft's operation. And I, for one, don't think it has to. I think it can play the part of a diverse operation that's going to give Microsoft some unintended consequences of a good kind. But this particular program does fit right in with Microsoft's education opportunities. They're fighting tooth and nail against Google and Apple to get the education market locked up. So being able to offer a Minecraft product is definitely to Microsoft's advantage.
And also, it allows Microsoft to get in with the kids when their minds are still malleable and they can impress upon them the value of the Microsoft brand.
Yeah. And it's arguable whether this thing actually has any real educational benefits. I mean, they do cool stuff like recreating science projects or historical sites, but there is no valid research that says playing Minecraft increases education for kids. I'm not saying it does or doesn't. We just don't know. Microsoft, as long as they can get schools to buy it, that's what they're going to do.
Yeah, there could be an entire episode about Minecraft. Pretty impressive stuff.
Yeah.
Android Police reports that some Android users have noticed an option to install apps from inside a Google search without having to visit the Google Play Store. So far, the feature is only reported in the Google app, not Chrome. Thanks to Motang for posting about this in the subreddit.
Yeah, this is pretty cool. So you can do this in the Google app right now on Android, where you see an install button, but as soon as you tap that install button, it just launches the Google Play Store and takes you over there, which arguably isn't a big deal. It's a fairly seamless experience. But this doesn't even take you out of the Google app. It gives you a little window where you see the normal options that you get for installing an Android app, like permissions, etc. And then you press install, it installs it, goes away, you're still in the Google app.
And if Darren was here, he would wonder how long it would take for hackers to exploit this new convenience to install, sideload apps or something. I guess
that's an interesting question because, I mean, it is still using the Google Play Store. So theoretically, it would have to be some kind of really bad cross-site scripting vulnerability to hijack that. But I bet you could phish people by making them think they've done this. Whether you can do that from the app, though, versus this isn't just the web. Those are all good questions. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Amazon announced the first group of Dash-enabled appliances today. Remember, Dash is the button that you can press to automatically reorder things. Well, now the appliances will be able to automatically reorder supplies as soon as they run out. First group includes Brother printers, reorder some ink, GE washing machines that dole out exactly the right amount of detergent so they can tell you when you need to reorder detergent, and the Gmate Smart Blood Glucose Monitor, which can reorder the strips and lancets and things that you need to use that. Most work by authorizing automatic reordering through the manufacturer's website or app, and the printers are ready today. and the others will be working by the end of the month. The API is now available too for other companies to implement besides just the launch partners. So anybody who makes an appliance can conceivably do this.
This is something that is extremely easy to make fun of, and I'm sure we've done that as well when the dash button was first announced. It's still uncertain, though. I mean, it could be great. It could be kind of annoying in the end. I think the only way to find out is to just start using it and see if it becomes an annoyance, or if you're just happy you pick it up when you. I guess for companies it might work better, but even for yourself, you pick up the stuff from your mailbox when you need it, and you just don't even notice that you have to order it. It's the kind of slight, in a world where apps are better when they're installed from the Google search, that kind of reducing of friction is so small that I don't see why it couldn't be a good thing in the physical space as well. So.
Yeah, my hesitations are I like to have control over what I buy. So when I buy detergent, I'm always looking to see what's on sale. I don't stick with the same brand all the time necessarily, especially for ink on my printer. I'm definitely not sticking with the same brand. I'm trying to find the cheapest one I can get that looks like it's going to be reliable. So it takes away that ability to shop around. And that ties into my other concern, which is, and hands it right over to Amazon, so that you're now just relying on Amazon to provide you everything rather than being able to encourage competition.
Yeah, for sure, and I think it might also put it in the hands of the manufacturer, which is probably not going to be selling you the cheapest one. But the big question is, does the convenience of this whole thing outweigh the ability to go shop and
I think in certain cases it could. I'm not sure that these are for me those particular cases. But Brita water filters, I'd be like, yeah, you can't really find those much cheaper usually, and not having to think about going and buying them and reordering them. And they're one of the partners. I could absolutely see that. I'm looking at these other ones, and there's really nothing else that I use on here.
Yeah, but that's where I was going with the. We really have to try them out and see which ones are annoying and which ones end up performing a service. Verizon announced its Freebie Data 360 plan today that allows companies to pay the data charge for customers on a per-click basis. Businesses can sponsor up to 30 seconds of video or 30 minutes of audio. The Verizon plan starts January 25th with beta trials by Hearst Magazine, AOL, and GameDay. Full availability is expected later this year, and AT&T has sold sponsored data for a year now.
Yeah, and AT&T was among those called in by the FCC to talk about this sort of thing. It's not prohibited under the Open Internet Guidelines, but the FCC likes to monitor it. T-Mobile was called in for the same reason, for their 0 rating of music and video. And it sounds like after that meeting, Verizon came back and said, great, we're going to do this too. So the meeting must have gone well, is my guess.
You know what irks me in all of this? It's the newspeak level of naming convention here. Freebie Data 360. This isn't a freebie. Someone's paying. And, this is even more cynical. It's a way for them to get someone to pay on top of what someone else is already paying.
I am leery of this sort of thing because it can be putting the power to pick winners in the hands of the carriers, right? If only the people with money can get video delivered to you, that would be a bad situation. On the other hand, we have just enough carriers that you could switch between, even though it's way too hard to switch between. And the idea that Verizon itself doesn't want to allow you to sponsor more than 30 seconds of video means this is really about letting people pay a little extra so their ads can be viewed without guilt. So if I'm like, oh, okay, I have to watch the ad, but it's paid for by the advertiser, then I'm not going to be as upset as with when autoplay happens and I'm on a limited connection. So I don't love this, but it hasn't quite crossed the line for me.
Yeah, I even myself, I'm an adamant defender of net neutrality. This is definitely irksome. It feels very dirty, and it's an overly complicated system that is put in place to sort of take advantage of and go around artificial or semi-artificial constraints. But yeah, I would agree it doesn't it isn't a major concern for me either. There are bigger concerns if we want to start attacking these issues.
Yeah. djsekani wanted us to note that Amnesty International says Apple, Samsung, Microsoft, Huawei, ZTE, HP, Dell, and Sony are among just some of the companies using parts that contain cobalt mined by children in the Democratic Republic of Congo, or the DRC. The DRC produces half the world's cobalt, and UNICEF estimates about 40,000 children work in the mines. Cobalt is used in lithium-ion batteries. Apple, Samsung, and Sony all say they have a zero-toleration policy toward child labor, and Apple, Sony, and Microsoft all told CNET variations of a statement saying they are investigating. They haven't determined for sure where the cobalt comes from, but they would not use cobalt if it could be determined to come from the DRC. Panasonic was not on the list, and they make lithium-ion battery, or they make products that have lithium-ion batteries in them.
You know, these are always a little bit of there's the cynic in me that says, but of course they knew, and or maybe not of course, but they probably knew, and now that it's broken, they're going to say they're going to investigate and then go get away from it. And the other side is thinking they're genuinely trying to make an effort to not use these kinds of these materials obtained in that way, and it's good that they're being made aware because they can do something about it. And the problem is we will never know ever which one is right. So I don't know. We have to take it at face value, I guess.
When 50% comes from the DRC, you got to guess that a lot of these are going to have cobalt in them that comes from the DRC. And with 40,000 children working in the mines, it's probably mined by a child. That said, I think there's a bit of plausible deniability on the sides of the companies where they're like, look, we just buy the lithium-ion batteries from a manufacturer who makes them. We don't make them ourselves. And we ask them where they get it from, and they say it's not from the Democratic Republic of Congo. So I guess we have to investigate further to make sure they're not lying to us. There is a point at which it is difficult to ask companies to trace all the way, but that's what Amnesty International does, is they put the pressure on and say, no, you should trace all the way, and you should cut off the supply of people who use child labor.
I guess they are the ones that are there to do that, or at least to point the finger where things seem to not add up. So the system is working.
Yeah.
Yay.
Yeah. Tinvec says it's kind of the same argument as blood diamonds, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bloomberg reports that General Motors has purchased the technology and most of the assets of ride-sharing pioneer Sidecar for somewhere close to $30 million. About 20 Sidecar employees will join GM, but not the co-founder and CEO Sunil Paul. GM recently invested $500 million in Lyft, and the Sidecar employees will help support that and other ride-sharing projects at GM.
Yeah, so this is GM picking up a little cheap technology and talent, it looks like, to help them out as they take a different tactic towards autonomous cars than Ford is taking. Ford is looking like they want to create their own system. GM's partnering to make a system, but now they've got a little bit of expertise on their own side, which certainly won't hurt with partnerships, and it gives them a little flexibility to try some things on their own.
Yeah, I just take it as yet another example that car companies, car manufacturers, are really don't want to be the 2000 and something smartphone companies or phone companies, and that's put on them.
The Verge reports Elliptic Labs is showing off new software called Beauty that uses ultrasound sent from your phone's earpiece to determine how near your head it is without the need for the actual proximity sensor. Elliptic claims its software is at par or better than infrared sensors currently used, but it doesn't increase power consumption, and it does take away a component that adds to the bulk of your phone. Elliptic hopes to have devices integrating the new technology out sometime this year. So it's more than just a firmware upgrade, apparently. You do need to tweak, you need to integrate it, is the way they put it somehow. But it would allow you to get rid of a sensor, which could make phones lighter and possibly even a little thinner.
Interesting. Inge Anning sent us the news that frustrated developers wrote a letter to GitHub saying that the company isn't addressing flaws in the open source coding platform quickly enough, and that the company is difficult to reach. The devs are requesting a template system for feedback and a way to upvote a project without having to comment.
Yeah, this is one of those things where you could look at it and say, as I think somebody on our subreddit commented, devs are always fighting with each other, but this one is getting a lot of attention. It was upvoted very quickly on Hacker News. People are signing up for the letter at a rapid pace. So it sounds like it's more than just the background grumbling that people have sometimes. It does seem as if GitHub really isn't reacting with enough alacrity to a widespread number of developers, not just the loudest people. And GitLab itself has even responded to this, saying, we know this letter wasn't pointed at us, but we want to say this is the things we're doing to listen to people. So one would expect GitHub needs to get their act together. That's it? That's all you got? All right,
I was trying to see how long that uncomfortable pause could go.
Engadget reports chip company Samsung has a new type of DRAM called HBM2 that operates at 256 gigabytes per second, 7 times faster than the best DDR5 chips. The 20-nanometer chips are initially aimed at server manufacturers. Samsung will start with 4 gigabyte modules with 4 layers of 8 gigabit cores and plan on introducing 8 gigabyte products with 8 stacks by the end of the year. Samsung also claims a space saving of 95% over GDDR5 in graphics cards, and that means cooler and faster GPUs for you to put in your gaming PCs.
And that is where I get interested.
Suddenly you're like, wait, what was the name of that? HBM2 again? Good to know. Yeah, this is blazing fast RAM here. It's crazy.
I mean, it seemed like GDDR5 has been the fastest type of RAM we've had forever. You know, it's been like, 3 years? And it's funny because I know we always need more speed, but I don't think the CPUs are getting that much faster in, clock speed. So I'm not sure we need incredibly faster RAMs except for maybe specialized hardware. But I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
I hear the person who's like, I want as little latency as possible. So I absolutely want. Yes. I mean, there are people who always want more, for sure. But I think you're right. It's a diminishing return at this point, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Netflix reported revenue of $1.67 billion, up from $1.31 billion a year ago, with earnings of 10 cents a share. Analysts had predicted $1.83 billion, so they missed that, but they crushed the projected earnings. Analysts had only projected 2 cents a share of earnings, so they multiplied that times 5. Miss on revenue, big beat on earnings, and missed expectations with 1.56 million new U.S. subscribers. They had expected more themselves, but they beat their own expectations with 4.04 million new subs internationally, and that's become the tale the last couple of quarters for Netflix. They're still growing domestically in the US, but not as fast as they want to, but they're going gangbusters internationally. There have been a couple articles I've read saying Netflix is going to become an international focused company, and the content is likely to reflect that over the next few years.
Which honestly is pretty great. Everything they've produced has been stellar to this point, and it seems that at least for some countries, I know that it's the case in France, they have deals with the authorities when they get into a country to participate in the cultural life of the country. Maybe that's just a French thing, but they are producing a series, a TV show set in France, in Marseille, in the south of the country. And I've recently watched Narcos, which was amazing and leveraged a lot of local talent. So I'm very excited about this, if only because it might mean that we're going to see high quality productions with American know-how and mixed in with local expertise. So that could be super interesting.
Yeah,
and just wanted to say on the financial side, they beat earnings by an incredible margin while coming short on revenue, which is pretty amazing.
Yeah, it shows that they're not wasting
They're
their
profitable,
money.
basically.
Yeah, definitely. And finally, IBM beat analyst expectations on sales of $22.1 billion in Q4 and on non-GAAP earnings per share of $4.84. Analysts were expecting $4.81 on sales of $22.04 billion. So they just comfortably beat both. This marks the 15th straight quarter of declines in sales revenue for IBM, though, but it was as expected. And that, my friends, is thanks to you at the subreddit, dailytechnewsshow.reddit.com. You help keep us healthy and well-rounded and knowing what kinds of things a number of you want to have in the show. The show gets better the more of you participate. So head on over to dailytechnewsshow.reddit.com, and that is a look at the headlines. All right. We're going to look at the games of 2016, the games that are coming in 2016, Patrick, and you've broken it up into 5 sequels and then 5 new properties, right?
Yeah, the thing is, so it's just going to be some of the games. I'm sure not all of them are going to be represented, and some people are going to be angry.
We don't have time to do all the games.
Yeah,
right?
exactly, because I'm not going to talk about Final Fantasy 15 or, whatever other game that they're excited for. But yeah, sequels are always super exciting because you already know the base product, and it's very easy to get hyped for the next one of the next version of the thing you already love. But it's also very exciting to think of new things. So I couldn't quite decide which ones I would be the most excited about, so I just decided 5 of both would work.
Well, we have a lot to get through then. That's 10 games, and we usually only give 10 minutes to our discussion section. So to keep us on target, I will announce the game, what platforms it's on, and if it has a release date. And then we're bringing in our producer, Jenny Josephson, with the timer to keep us to 60 seconds per game for Patrick to explain why I should care.
Yeah, so 10 games in 10 minutes. I can do it. It's a challenge.
Jenny, are you ready?
I am ready.
All right. Here we go with the first one. You can start the timer when I finish with the explanation.
Wow, the pressure's on.
Uncharted 4, A Thief's End, coming out April 26th on PS4. Take it away, Patrick.
So Uncharted 4 is the Uncharted series is incredibly successful, and it has a know-how of Naughty Dog, which has been doing basically adventure games that are easy to get into but incredibly engaging. They have amazing voice actor support and motion capturing, and the scenes are basically played by real actors and captured and integrated into the game. These are a type of games that you can just enjoy as much by watching them as you could by playing them. They're super fun.
Good streaming games.
Good streaming games, but mostly good playing the game with someone, a spouse or friend sitting by your side and enjoying it with you. The acting is breathtaking, and this one seems like it's going to be just as good. Very excited for that one.
Done.
Wow, under time.
56.
Street Fighter V, February 16th for PS4 and PC from Capcom.
Street Fighter is currently, I guess, the only name in the fighting game genre. It's super exciting. The fifth one is super exciting because Street Fighter is a name I think everyone remember, well, most gamers remember from the 90s and their childhood or college years. And it sort of went away a little bit and then came back in the 2000s with Street Fighter 4. That was just a little bit too complicated for everyone to get back into, but the fifth one coming out in just under a month is aiming to make it just this tiny little bit more accessible so that everyone can get back into it. So if you want to play Ryu or Ken or Dalsim or Zangief and crush your friends with it and have those couch fun evenings where you're yelling at your friends for beating you, that's a game you might want to be looking at, keeping your eye on.
Definitely a nostalgia play.
Yeah, for sure.
Under time again?
I know he's under time. I keep waiting to make some obnoxious
Finish him.
noise.
Persona 5 coming sometime this year. We don't have a date yet. PS3 and PS4 from Altus.
So it's coming in the summer, probably in Japan. We're hoping it's going to come in the West in this year as well. Persona is a very strange series. It's a Japanese RPG, so it's very peculiar. Not everyone is going to like it. However, if you do, this is the best version of that. And one thing that I really enjoy is the fact that it plays in Tokyo in the modern day. It's not, some fantasy world or some futuristic sci-fi thing. It's current Tokyo, and it has incredible art direction and incredible design. So that the quality and the popularity of Persona 4 might make Persona 5 a game that is going to be a breakout in the West as well.
A pretty game.
Yeah,
Game
it's pretty and special, different.
Mass Effect Andromeda coming in December. PC, PS4, Xbox from EA.
So Mass Effect is basically, if Uncharted 4 was Indiana Jones, and it kind of is, Mass Effect is the space opera version of a game. It is a franchise that started not so long ago, maybe 5 years ago, and basically came back to real fun role-playing game with a lot of possibilities, a lot of endpoints, and a lot of freedom for you to do what you want, become friends, become lovers with whoever you want, but in the setting of that grand, amazing space world that they created. And I think it's not certain it's going to come out in 2016, but if it does, I think it's going to be a great opportunity for people to get into that series, because it's a completely different universe, I guess. Not universe, but a different setting. It's not the same heroes, and
yeah, they're changing the plot.
Time.
Some kind of game in the Zelda universe without a name, probably on the Wii U, maybe on the NX, probably coming this year.
So Zelda Wii U has been planned for last year, and now is planned for this year. And the funny thing with Zelda is that we really don't know much about that specific game. We've seen maybe a couple of minutes of footage that didn't show much, but still, it's Zelda, so everyone is incredibly excited about this.
Myself included, yeah.
Yeah, and there is the added benefit of the drama, or not the drama, but the wondering of whether or not it's going to come out on the Wii U only or on the Wii U and the potential next Nintendo console that we don't know anything about. It's probably going to be that case, but we'll see. But yeah, I couldn't mention at least one of those incredible unicorn games that everyone's waiting for. So Zelda is going to be the one, not Last Guardian, not any other, but Zelda. I think it's going to speak to the most people in this audience.
It's still under time.
Still under time. I think Patrick has a timer.
I know, right?
I do have a timer.
Aha! All right, the new IP, because Zelda's probably the biggest sequel that I'm excited about. Let's start with Horizon Zero Dawn, sometime this year on PS4 from Guerrilla Games.
Horizon Zero Dawn is another one of those. Well, we're getting into new IPs, so it's not. There are no guarantees here. But that one was the breakout title of E3 last year. It's a setting of the buzzword for that game is post-apocalyptic. So it's basically after everything has broken down, how does society rebuild itself in sort of a tribal way? The hero is a young female that hunts dinosaurs made of robot parts.
Yes.
And the whole world is basically a wild jungle of some kind of or tundra populated by robotic dinosaurs. And it seems like it's going to be an action game with a little bit of storytelling, a single-player experience. We're not sure it's going to be great, but it certainly looks like it's going to be great. And again, dinosaurs made of robot parts.
Seriously.
Come on.
What else you need? No Man's Sky coming June 2016 on PS4 and PC from Hello Games. This one's the one I'm probably most excited about in this category.
Yeah, this one it's the buzz and the hype is starting to die down a little bit, but they're taking their time to make sure that there's something to do in that game, which we have not seen an iota of gameplay from. Everything we've seen is basically a huge universe made of millions and hundreds of millions of systems and planets that you can go explore and land on as a space explorer and discover the different wildlife and fauna and flora and planets themselves. They're going to be attributed to you when you land on it. It's going to be, Tom Honky 27 discovered this planet,
wait a
and everyone is going to. Sorry, everyone. I'm looking at Jenny, who's laughing now. Everyone's going to know that you are the one who found it, and the art direction is pretty amazing as well. So it's an exploration space game that seems to be arcadey enough for everyone to enjoy.
For Honor, sometime this year, maybe on PS4, Xbox One, and PC from Ubisoft.
This is a big question mark. Ubisoft asked the question, can we do a sword fighting game, competitive sword fighting game with controllers that works well? And it seems like they have found a way of making it work. The control scheme seems like it works. So you're going to move your controller to parry and to attack in different directions and different sides of your character. So it's not a shooting game. It kind of works like a third-person shooting game, except you're only using swords. The big question is this actually going to work? Is it going to be fun? But it certainly looks like the best attempt at this that we've seen so far. We've only seen some footage. I don't think a lot of people have tried it, so it's still uncertain. But if they pull it off, it could be a very interesting take on, the competitive versus type of games.
Hat tip to Neil Stevenson and Subutai. Firewatch coming February 9th, PC OS 10 and PS4 from Camposanto.
Firewatch is a storytelling game, it seems. It has a very peculiar type of art direction. It's very beautiful. It's really beautiful. But beyond that, we've seen a couple of 2-minute trailers, and what struck me was the storytelling seems really masterful. They managed to get you interested in what's happening in that world with just a few lines. It's basically a forest guard, I guess, who goes away from his watchtower and explores the land while talking with someone on his walkie-talkie. And just one little piece of story from there. He's exploring, he's talking, he's having fun, and then she tells him, "Hey, are you back at your watchtower?" He says, "No, I'm walking around. You're hearing me." And she says, "Then who is?"
It's Jack Kerouac, and he's writing Desolation Angels.
Possibly.
And then finally, Overwatch, coming this summer. Amazon says June 21st. Don't know whether to believe him. PC, PS4, and Xbox One from the company Patrick used to work for, Blizzard.
So this is latest possible release date, June 21st. It's probably going to come out a little bit earlier. It's a game I played the beta for late last year, and I adored that game. I've probably talked about it a few times on this show. I can't remember, but I've talked about it on every show. I thought I was going to like it, but I really loved it. It's the approachable first-person shooter game, competitive first-person shooter game. It's very easy to get into, and it does what Blizzard does best, which is take a genre of game and take the essence of the fun of that game, remove all of the complication and the tedium, and make that fun accessible to quote-unquote normal people. And certainly in that game it works. At least it worked for me. I had huge amounts of fun playing the different characters. I love the art direction, and I think a lot of people who think they're not into FPSs might like this game, so keep an eye on that one as well.
I didn't enjoy the beta, but only because I wasn't allowed in to it. I did enjoy the little bit that I played at BlizzCon, though, and I'm not a first-person shooter guy, and I really had fun with it. So I think you're right about that. That's it? We're done.
Yeah, 10 games in 10
Jenny,
minutes.
I feel like we should have tried to trick him into going longer or something. Like we barely needed the timer.
No, Patrick, we really admire your broadcasting discipline.
Standing belly clap.
Thank you.
For Patrick.
Thank you.
All right.
I'm bowing.
All right. Let's get to our pick of the day. I'm remiss if I don't mention, if you want more about those games and more discussion about why they are anticipated, check out Pixels at FrenchSpin.com. That's the latest episode with you and Garrett. And
that's it.
That's it. Just you and Garrett Weinzel from The Angry Chicken.
Absolutely.
Hey, that Charlie dude sent us a pic. He said, "Hi, Tom and guest and Jenny and Roger and everybody else. I wish I had installed my pick on my wife's computer since it auto-updated to Windows 10 last week. Oh well. GWX Control Panel from UltimateOutsider.com will allow you to block Get Windows 10 ad pop-ups, delete Windows 10 installation files, and more, all from a GUI interface, so there's no need to open the registry. I'm currently running it on my laptop, and I find it easy to use, and did I mention that it's free? So if you don't want to bother the DIY fix that Microsoft put out, here's another easy way to do it, especially maybe if you want to put it on somebody else's machine.
I think it could be interesting at some point, someday, to discuss the pros and cons of having Windows 10 pester you all the time to install the latest version or install Windows 10. But,
yeah, it's a GWX Control Panel. UltimateOutsider.com. We'll have the link in the show notes as well. Send your picks to us, folks. Feedback at dailytechnewsshow.com. You can find more picks at dailytechnewsshow.com/picks. And one email. Harry is an airline pilot who is skeptical about autonomous cars. Now, he makes the point that an airplane's flight is much more predictable than a car's. You're in the air. There's less traffic. You got one place to go. And it still requires an army of pilots, air traffic controllers, maintenance people, etc., to keep it flying safely. And planes still aren't fully autonomous. They do have autonomous aspects, but you still have to have a pilot there. Here's what he writes. Here's the bottom line. Level 4 autonomous cars are 20 plus years away, in my opinion, no matter what the pundits tell you. Level 4 autonomous cars in the next 5 years is pure fantasy, no matter how much you want it. And then he cites an article from the New York Times that kind of fleshes out a lot of his views. He says, who is going to buy an autonomous car after the first cell phone video makes the news of a helpless driver going off a cliff, not being able to stop the car because the steering wheel and brakes have been deemed to not be needed? Unless you believe hardware and software made by man is flawless, something like this will happen. And with 300 million drivers on the road every day, it might happen often. He says this will happen often. I don't know that it'll happen as often as he's implying, but this is a really good point. I don't think the autonomous cars that will just do everything on their own and don't require human supervision are 5 years away. I think he's right. If not for the technical reasons, he's right for the social reasons, because there will be an accident and hopefully not, but probably will be a fatality. And it only takes one to be covered for a lot of safety provisions to be required, or if the safety provisions are already in place, to be strengthened. So Patrick, I think Harry's right. We're going to have autonomous cars with human supervision for a while before we get to what he's calling level 4, which is the car just doesn't need to have a human interacting with it.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure anyone is saying that we'll actually have level 4 autonomous cars.
Well, Elon Musk sort of did, which is what I think Harry's responding to.
Well, again, I'd like to separate two things. I think there's a difference between the capability of having those, and he's sort of mixing this and the social component of it, which we won't be allowed, we won't be ready to accept it, because any death by an autonomous vehicle is not going to be accepted, ironically, as well as a death by someone who's driving. And that those are two different things. I agree that it's probably optimistic to think 5 years they're going to be able to do it, but I'm wondering if it's not going to be, in ideal conditions, they could do it, and yes, there would be. Where do we set the line? For example, the bar. Less deaths in theory than not autonomous cars. That could happen. I could see it happen. If every car was autonomous, I guess it's all very complicated and muddy. I don't think we can say definitively in 5 years' time we're not going to have a car that can drive itself. Yeah. In theory. Are they actually going to be on the road driving themselves without any issues? That's a different question. And also for the airplanes, whether or not we have autonomous airplanes right now, I think might also depend on the kind of technology that's required. I would argue that possibly in the past 10 years, the leaps and bounds that technology has made have made autonomous cars possible, and maybe if we applied it to planes, it would be somewhat possible a little bit as well.
Well, I mean, autopilot all but flies the plane now. But I think the main point Harry's making is probably the social one. He seems to be a little more skeptical that the technology can perform as well as people may be implying it can. And I think that's worth having a discussion about. It's all about percentage success, right? Cars technology right now can be entirely autonomous. A car can drive around without a human in it right now. The question is, how often will it have a problem? They can't, I don't think they'll ever have an autonomous car that will drive 100% without a problem ever, because we don't have human cars that can do that. I don't think we need to have it as 100%, just an improvement on what we have now, which with humans driving is pretty bad. I think the question is, have we reached a point where autonomous cars are good enough that we could make the argument that they should take over from humans? And I think that's where Harry's point is the strongest, which is then it's about perception and it's about comfort level and, are we willing to give up control, and is it safe to give up control, and what kind of rules we put in place there. And that's where I think he's right. Because the technology can do it right now, especially in ideal conditions. That's really not the question. The question is, can it do it well enough to let our minds rest easy?
But at the same time, if you push too much into the social question, I don't know that, let's say you get 1,000 deaths a year with driver cars and 100 deaths a year with driverless cars. Still, when those happen and you point the finger at that robot that was driving you and that the manufacturer couldn't, so it could also be argued that we would never have them because people will never accept them. So I don't know.
No, I don't think that's true either.
That's
air travel is a great example of where perception changes safety requirements, right? Air travel is much safer than auto travel right now. But it's the perception and the fear around it that causes us to hold it to a higher standard than we hold automobile travel. It's very much a psychological issue. Yeah. So anyway, thank you, Harry, for sharing your experience with us. Really appreciate that. And thank you, Patrick Beja, for sharing your experience with us. Well done on the lightning round game review. I found that very helpful personally.
Well, I hope that the listeners also found it helpful. You know that gaming is one of my passions, and I hope that if you are not into games, or if you used to be and you're thinking maybe I'm going to be interested, that one of those games might have gotten you into it. And if so, I have done my job and my mission is accomplished.
Frenchspin.com, of course, to find Pixels, where you can hear more about those games and gaming in general. And of course, there is the Phileas Club, which I will be on this week. So keep an eye out for that as well. Who else is going to be on? Do we know yet?
Probably Matthias from Germany. And Turkey is taking a month off. He's busy with many things. So I told him he could have the day.
Ah, darn, I miss Turkey, but I understand. That's fine. Frenchspin.com. Thanks to our bosses, the folks who make the show happen. What we do here is supported by you, the listener. Now, if you can't afford to support us, we get that. There are other ways to support us. You can just tell folks about us. Maybe you can afford a mug in the store. If you can't support us at patreon.com/DTNS, go to dailytechnewsshow.com/support. To find out some other ways to support us. We've got bonus materials too for the patrons. Rich from lovely Cleveland put together a great best of post show 2 weeks in a row now. If you're a patron and didn't see it, check it out on patreon.com or in the treasure chest. Our email address is feedback@dailytechnewsshow.com. You can give us a call, 512-59-DAILY. It's 512-593-2459. Catch the show live Monday through Friday at 4:30 p.m. Eastern at alphageekradio.com and diamondclub.tv, and visit our website, dailytechnewsshow.com. Back tomorrow with Luria Petrucci talking education online, and Scott Johnson. Talk to you then.
This show is part of the Frog Pants Network. Get more at frogpants.com.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.
Great show.
Excellent.
May I be first to say that show was terrific.
Oh, good. Thank you. I agree. I think it was a great show, too. What should we call it?
I have ideas. I'm going to break my rule about no longer rapping because the title with the most votes right now is Amazon Dash Push It Real Good. Then there was I Was Born Gaming.
I Was Born Gaming.
Yeah, Minecraft 365.
I like that.
Amazon Dash's Blood Sugar, or Amazon Dash's The Singularity, which is so interesting. And let's see. I think those are my top. I really like Amazon Dash. Push It Real Good. Just as a child of the late 80s, early 90s. When did that song come out?
80.
86. Late 80s, I thought so.
But push it real good.
So that's my favorite.
What title should we pick?
Oh, I officially won the Nextdoor.com game.
Yes.
You want to know how?
How?
By having the best ever Nextdoor update.
Okay. Hold that thought.
Yeah.
Are we picking Amazon Dash Push It Real Good?
I mean, I kind of think
Or
so.
I Was Born Gaming? Patrick, you make the call.
Oh my God, I can't choose between Jenny and someone else. I would feel too guilty.
I can't access Showbot.
Oh, it's at a different address today.
Well, the Amazon Dash has one more vote in the Showbot, so.
Yep.
Done. Okay, go ahead, Jenny.
Okay, now most of these are regular, like normal ones, like Cherimoya School Tour, Stolen Bikes, casting for a home renovation show. Pretty standard stuff in my neighborhood, but here's one. Post title, Exotic Animals Should Not Be Party Props. Live signatures tonight.
Live signatures.
Yeah, that's the part that really got me. Like, what are you signing?
And you have to sign it live.
I know. I thought it was kind of amazing. Live. But the idea that, like, that's my neighborhood where they're, like, seriously concerned about exotic animals as party props makes me want to investigate more. Oh, wait, sorry. There's also Sketchy Man We Call Red. What?
I don't understand the...
There's like a whole post that's concerned about some sketchy guy named Red. Which I think is very disrespectful to Morgan Freeman.
Why is that offensive to Morgan Freeman?
Isn't that his name in Shawshank?
Is it Red? I don't remember.
Yeah.
Maybe he just looks like him. Maybe that's why they call him that.
Yeah, Red and Andy. Hold on. Yeah, I know. Wouldn't it be weird if I was signing endangered animals? Let's look at that one. What? Stop the practice of allowing exotic animals like the lion and elephant and giraffe being used as party props.
What?
Someone is using a lion as a party prop?
Oh, I know what they're doing. It's like when they hire out exotic animals for an event.
Yeah. That seems like a bad idea anyway.
Well, I guess for some people who hire them out, it's like, oh, it's like hiring a pony for a little kid's birthday.
Except it's a lion! Would you hire a lion for Ellie's first birthday?
People hire...
That sounds like a very bad idea.
Any quick perusal of the internet will uncover a million humans that shouldn't be allowed to do much of it.
That's true. That's a fair point.
It's like, oh, what was that one where the like this grandmother was killed by a pet elephant, and the guy who owned the elephant and who was the son is like, well, I didn't think it was an issue because I always let my like little baby girl play with the elephant. It's like, it's an elephant.
Oh my gosh.
You kept it in the trailer park. What did you think was gonna happen? Elephants are animals of high taste. You just can't stick them anywhere. Very refined animals.
Yeah.
You are an animal of excellent taste.
Some prefer their peanuts creamed. Others like it chunky.
Well, I, for one, think I'm in agreement with Jenny that was an excellent, successful show.
Yeah.
It was a great show. It was really, you know what? I really like the element of the timed bit where like you get it under 60 seconds. They kind of added a little
A
excitement.
little
It's kind of like
tension.
it's kind of like we used to do the speed run on Call for Help.
Yeah.
It was,
Yeah, it's fun. Next time we'll do it with the blockchain. No. Okay, you've got 60 seconds. Explain Bitcoin.
No, you know what you should do is do it old school and get like a giant hourglass that you put and you flip it over. It's like, all right, Patrick or whoever, you have exactly this much time to do whatever you need to do. So there's some sort of.
If you had actually ever run out of time, Patrick, I would have done.
Like you only called time once, and it was because I was still commenting, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only time he came near was when you asked a question and he had to follow up. But it was nice try tricking him. Good effort.
Well, it was a pro move.
It was pro move. I have to go because I have to both get a haircut and go have coffee with Katie Best.
Oh, well, tell Katie Best I said hello.
The best to Katie.
Tom says hi.
Give my best to Katie.
I don't know who it is, but I say hi as well.
Hi, Patrick. Katie Best is just terrific.
Hey, Katie.
She's the best.
She's the best
the
one.
best.
I think it's in the name.
The name says it all.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. I'm still exporting.
Hey, yeah, that could be a cool startup business, huh? Like a portable hair salon, where instead of people coming to you, you can wheel out your equipment to wherever they're at. Say like, oh, they're having coffee, and you do their hair while they're having coffee.
Do their hair while they're having coffee.
You know, I made this rather glib comment on Twitter saying that really they should just rename the app economy to the middleman economy, and that's what I'm going to try to do: insert myself in the situation.
To everybody's startup. Clever. Patrick, I meant to ask you this in the show and I forgot. If you could pick just one game, could you pick just one game?
Oh wow, that is very difficult. Just one. It's a good thing you didn't ask me on the show. I would have needed another 10 minutes to decide. My heart would be very torn between Uncharted 4 and Overwatch.
Yeah. Very,
very torn. I think if I really, really had to choose, oh my God, you're killing me. It would be Overwatch because I think I could play that game longer. There's less replayability. There's no replayability in Uncharted, or very little. But I think that the sheer possibility of a theoretical situation where I wouldn't get to play Uncharted 4 would make my brain software bug and unable to respond.
Wow, that's a tough call. But you narrowed it to 2.
Yeah.
All right. Did I actually do the right one?
Do you find yourself playing more PC or PS4 or whatever, or is it all split just depending on the game?
Yeah, it's depending on the game. It's depending on the game. I play. It depends on the game, on my mood. I'll go wherever the game is, basically. I'll go wherever.
I go where the games are.
I play a lot less. I play a lot less console games just because it's hard when I'm playing, and then Ellie will want to try to grab the controller. Like, it's like, oh, she's doing something really fun. I need to insert myself. So it's all PC. But I'm really excited for Mass Effect as in Andromeda.
Yeah. See, that's the thing, though. We don't know anything about it. It could suck.
Well, did you play the last 3?
I played the first one. I loved it. Second one, I didn't like it. I played maybe 5 hours. Third one, I didn't play.
Yeah, the second one was kind of a bridge game, like a bridge movie where it just kind of connects the two at the end. I'm really hoping they expand out the exploration aspect of the game, so it's not so much a fetch mission.
That is my problem with the second and the third one. The first one, the universe was your oyster. You could go anywhere, look for different things. It was very open, and it felt that you felt like you had the universe available for you to enjoy. In the second one, the gated, there was like 3 planets you had to finish, and then 3 more planets. That killed it for me.
Yeah.
So that's I really hope if Andromeda is more open, I would be very happy.
And you're still on Fallout 4 playing or no?
It didn't work for me. It didn't work for me. It's a little bit, I don't know. I have to play more, but I got into Heroes of the Storm involuntarily.
It's
Heroes of the Storm.
It does have a very narcotic-like effect, like Skyrim. Like you play it and you're playing it non-stop for like a while, and then after a while you're like, okay, I'm done.
Well, I'm just playing until Overwatch comes back, and then I'll be playing Overwatch.
There hasn't been an Xbox One game that they've announced that I'm at all. I mean, except maybe it's a Cup or whatever that I'm actually interested in.
Which one? Oh, yeah,
the one that looks
Cuphead.
like a 1920s cartoon.
Yeah, Cuphead.
Cuphead.
It's fun. I mean, it looks fun. I don't think it's going to be, a console-defining game, and the Xbox One is sorely missing.
It is.
those.
It is. I'm actually a little amazed at how little work was done for like getting some really iconic. I mean, you got Halo, but you can only flog Halo for so long and to so many people.
Yeah, I played Halo 5, and I think my issue with it was I wasn't a Halo fan before, and it stayed true to the mechanics of the previous ones, and it felt a little bit too old school for me. So
Yeah, I never played Halo until I got the Xbox when it came with the Master Chief Edition. I played all 4. I mean, I like the games as first-person shooters, but overall, I mean, you just really have to be into that kind of capture the flag or some sort of 3-on-3 or deathmatch or something where you're, it's a frag game.
You played the single player.
Yeah, I tried playing multiplayer, but I have really bad luck on Xbox Live playing with other people. Like, I just, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I very well know what you mean.
Like, Left 4 Dead on Steam is really easy to pick up people to play with, and part of it is the game mechanics, right? Like, people can vote other people out, and it's cooperative. It's not,
Yeah, exactly. That's the most important thing.
All right, we're posted. I'm out of the post. So thanks everybody for watching. And if you follow me on Snapchat, it's Ace Detect. You can see the preparation for this episode all the way to the publishing done, and I'll save that out and put that up on YouTube as well. See you later.